Close your eyes and breathe in slowly. The air around you is still, quiet, and familiar. But not for long. You've been chosen, not just to fly, but to leave Earth behind, to cross the void between worlds, and to set foot on Mars. You're not a hero, not a legend, just a human, fragile, curious, and determined. You've trained for years, studied every system, memorized every protocol. And now, the countdown has begun. You're sitting in the quiet of your quarters, the hum of life, support systems gently vibrating through the walls. You feel the weight of the suit on your skin, not yet sealed, but already heavy with meaning. You look out the small window. The stars are distant, scattered like dust. And somewhere out there is your destination. Mars, red, cold, and waiting. You've read the reports, the mission briefings, the warnings. You know the risks, the radiation, the isolation, the possibility that you may never return. But you said yes. You always said yes. Because something inside you needed to know, needed to see, needed to feel what it means to leave Earth behind. You remember the first time you saw Mars through a telescope. Just a dot. Rust-colored, distant. And now it's real, tangible, and terrifying. You've watched the simulations, the descent, the landing, linding, the dust storms. You've seen the data from rovers, the thin atmosphere, the freezing nights, the silence. And still, you go. You're not alone. Not entirely. There's a team. Mission control, engineers, scientists. But once you launch, once you leave orbit, the distance grows and the silence deepens. You'll be traveling for months, through deep space, exposed to cosmic rays, shielded only by layers of metal and hope. You'll eat, sleep, exercise, and sleep. Wait for the moment when Mars comes into view and you begin your descent. But that's still far away. For now, you sit and breathe and think. You think about Earth, the oceans, the forests, the sound of wind through trees, the laughter of people in parks, the smell of rain on pavement. You think about everything you leaving behind and everything you might never see again. You wonder if it's worth it, if the cost is too high, if the dream is too distant. But you already know the answer. You knew it the moment you said yes. You knew it when you looked up at the stars and felt something stir inside you, something ancient, something human. You're going to Mars, and nothing will ever be the same. So you breathe and listen and wait. The journey is about to begin, and you are ready, or at least you hope you are. Welcome aboard. And if you haven't already, take a moment to subscribe, breathe deeply, and prepare yourself, because this is not just a story, it's a reality, and it's going to break. Test everything you are.
You're standing in the training facility. The air smells faintly of metal and recycled oxygen. Everything is clean, sterile, precise. You've been here before, again and again. End of pause. Months of repetition, drills, simulations, and silence. You're not just training your body, you're training your mind. Because the journey to Mars isn't just physical. It's psychological, and it's relentless. You wake up early, every day. Your schedule is strict, your meals are measured, your sleep is monitored. You run, lift, stretch, and sweat. But it's not enough. You spend hours in the simulator, strapped into a mock capsule, blinking, surrounded by screens and blinking lights. Pause. You rehearse emergencies, fire in the cabin, oxygen leak, system failure. You learn to stay calm, to breathe slowly, to act without hesitation, because hesitation can kill. You're taught to solve problems with limited tools, to improvise, to survive. You learn to live without comfort, without privacy, without certainty. Pause. You're isolated for days, sometimes weeks, in a sealed chamber, no windows, no contact, just you and your thoughts. You begin to understand what it means to be truly alone. You talk to psychologists. They ask you questions. They measure your responses. They look for cracks, signs of stress, signs of fear. You're trained to recognize your own breakdown, to manage it, to hide it if necessary, because panic spreads and panic kills. You learn to meditate, to visualize, to breathe through the fear. You're shown videos of past missions, of astronauts crying in silence, of arguments in zero gravity, of people who couldn't take it, who broke, who begged to come home. You're told that Mars is not a place for weakness, not a place for doubt. You're told that once you launch, there's no turning back. Reacts to microgravity, how it deteriorates. You learn about bone loss, muscle atrophy, radiation exposure. You're told that your DNA may change, that your brain may shift, holes, that your vision may blur. You're told that you may not be the same when you return, if you return. You practice emergency surgery, basic dentistry, psychological first aid. Pause, because you'll be your own doctor, your own therapist, your own lifeline. You learn to fix the ship, to patch holes, to reroute power. You learn to grow food, recycle water, manage waste, because everything must be reused, everything must be rationed. You're taught to respect the systems, because they are your lungs, your veins, your heartbeat. You begin to feel the pressure, not just from the training, not pause, but from the knowledge that you are preparing for something that may kill you, something that has never been done before. You look around at the others, fellow trainees. Some smile, some cry, some disappear. Not everyone makes it. Not everyone is meant to. You begin to understand that this mission is not about glory. It's about endurance, about surviving the impossible, about facing the void and not blinking. You're told that the journey will take months, that you'll be confined to a small space. You'll see the same walls, hear the same sounds, live the same routine, day after day. You're told that boredom will become your enemy, that monotony will wear you down, that your mind will begin to drift. You're trained to fight it, to stay sharp, to stay focused. You're given tasks, experiments, logs to write. You're told to keep a journal, to talk to yourself. You're told that you will miss Earth, miss the sky, cause, the breeze, the sound of birds. You're told that you will dream of home and that this is normal. You're told that you will feel nothing and that this too is normal. You're told that you must keep going no matter what, because the mission depends on you and you are the mission. You begin to understand, truly understand, that going to Mars is not just a journey, it's a transformation. And once you begin, you will never be the same. And pause. So you breathe, and listen, and prepare. Because the launch is coming, and you must be ready. You're lying on your back, strapped into the seat, the harness tight across your chest, your fingers resting on the armrests, your breath slow, controlled. The cabin is dim, cores lit by soft panels and blinking indicators. You hear the low hum of systems coming online, the distant chatter of mission control filtered through your headset. You've rehearsed this moment afar, 1,000 times, but this time it's real. This time you're leaving Earth for good. You feel the vibration first, subtle, like a whisper beneath your skin. Then the countdown begins. 10, 9. You close your eyes. 8, long pause. The people you love. 5, the ones you left behind. 4, the ones who said goodbye. 3, armrests. 1, the engines ignite, and the world disappears. The force presses you into your seat, your chest tight, your vision blurs. You feel the ship rise, pause, faster than anything you've ever known. You hear the roar, the thunder, the scream of metal and fire, and then silence. The sky turns black, stars appear, and Earth begins to fall away. You watch it shrink, the blues and greens fading into a pale sphere, suspended in darkness. You feel something inside you shift, something deep, something permanent. You are no longer on Earth, and you will not be again for a very long time. The ship stabilizes, the engines quiet, and you begin to float. Your body adjusts, slowly, awkwardly. You feel light, untethered, and strangely vulnerable. You look around the cabin. Everything is in place, every panel, every switch, every screen. You begin your checks, your routines, your logs. You speak to mission control, their voices delayed, distant, pause, but still familiar. You know that soon, even that connection will fade. You're in orbit now, circling the Earth, preparing for the transfer burn, the maneuver that will send you toward Mars. You wait, hours pass. You eat, hydrate, stretch. You stare out the window, watching the Earth spin below you. Clouds swell, storms bloom, cities glow. And then, the burn begins. The engines fire again, the ship trembles, and your trajectory shifts. You are no longer bound to Earth. You are falling toward Mars, slowly, steadily, and irreversibly. You feel the change in your bones, in your breath, in your thoughts. You are leaving everything behind, and everything ahead is unknown. The days begin to blur. You mark time by tasks, by meals, by sleep. You float through the cabin, your body adapting, your muscles weakening, your bones thinning. You exercise daily, resistance bands, cycling, stretches. But it's not enough. You feel the change, slow, inevitable. You begin to dream differently, your thoughts drifting, your memories fading. You miss gravity. You miss the feeling of weight, peace, the pain, of pressure, of being held by the earth. You miss the sound of wind, the smell of rain, the warmth of sunlight filtered through atmosphere. You begin to understand what isolation truly means. Not just physical, but emotional, spiritual. You are alone, profoundly and completely. You speak to mission control, but the delay grows, seconds, then minutes. You ask a question, and wait, and wait, and wait. You begin to talk to yourself, to record thoughts, to write letters you cannot send. You begin to feel the silence, not as absence, but as presence. It fills the cabin, wraps around you, becomes part of you. You begin to understand that space is not empty, it is vast and indifferent, and it does not care if you survive. You look out the window, Earth is gone, Mars is still invisible, and all around you is black, endless and quiet. You breathe and float and wait, because this is only the beginning, and the hardest part is still to come. You wake slowly, the soft hum of the spacecraft surrounding you like a blanket. There's no sunrise here, no morning breeze, no birdsong, just the quiet rhythm of machines and the gentle drift of your body in microgravity. You stretch, slowly, carefully, your muscles stiff from sleep. You reach for the wall, push gently, and float across the cabin. Your body has begun to adapt, but it's not easy. Every movement is deliberate, every action planned. You miss the simplicity of walking, of standing, of gravity holding you in place. Here, everything floats, including you. You begin your routine. You check the systems, oxygen levels, temperature, radiation shielding. You log your vitals, blood pressure, heart rate, hydration. You eat carefully measured portions, rehydrated packets. Bland, pause, but necessary. You drink recycled water, filtered again and again. Every drop matters. Every calorie counts. You exercise, resistance bands, cycling, low, stretches. Your muscles ache, your bones protest, but you push through because if you don't, your body will begin to fail. Checking instruments, running diagnostics, recording data. You speak into the log, your voice calm, steady. Ooh. You talk to mission control, but the delay is growing. You ask a question and wait and wait and wait. And sometimes the answer comes, sometimes it doesn't. You begin to feel the distance, not just in miles, but in time, in silence and solitude. You try to stay busy. You read, you write, you record thoughts. You listen to music, soft melodies, floating through the cabin. You watch old videos, people laughing, waves crashing, trees swaying in the wind. You close your eyes and try to remember what it felt like to stand on Earth, to feel the sun on your skin, the ground beneath your feet. But the memory is fading, slowly, quietly. You begin to dream differently, strange images, pause, unfamiliar places. Your mind drifts, untethered, like your body, black. You feel the effects of radiation, subtle, but constant. Your cells are changing, your DNA shifting. You take supplements, monitor your health, but you know the damage is happening, invisibly, inevitably. You begin to feel tired, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. The silence is heavy, the isolation deep. You talk to yourself, record messages, write letters you'll never send. You try to hold on to who you are, but it's slipping, slowly. You begin to understand that space is not just distance, it's disconnection. You are cut off. From Earth, from people, from everything familiar. You begin to feel the weight of the mission, not in your hands, but in your heart. You are responsible for the ship, for the data, for yourself. There is no rescue, no backup, no second chance. You must endure, you must survive, you must continue, even when it hurts, even when it's lonely. Pause, even when you want to stop. You look out the window, stars drift by, silent, eternal. That ties not just of gravity, but of purpose. You are going to Mars, and nothing will stop you. You breathe and float. Gauze, and you must live it. You begin to notice the changes, not all at once, but slowly. Quietly, your body feels different. Your muscles softer, your bones more fragile. You float through the bed and realize that movement no longer feels natural. It's not just the absence of gravity, it's the absence of resistance. Your body is adapting, but not in ways that comfort you. Not pause, you exercise every day. You follow the protocols, you stretch, you strain, but still, you feel weaker. Spine elongates, you feel taller, but not stronger. You begin to lose bone density, slowly, invisibly. Your calcium levels drop, your skeleton begins to thin. You take supplements, you monitor your vitals, but the process continues. You know that if you stay too long, your bones may never fully recover. Your muscles atrophy, resting. Despite your efforts, you feel it when you grip tools, when you push off walls,
When you try to hold yourself steady, you begin to understand that your body was never meant for space, and every day here is a negotiation, a compromise, a slow surrender. You feel the effects of radiation, not as pain, but as presence. It's always there, passing through you, altering you. You know the risks: cancer, neurological damage, cellular mutation. You've read the studies, seen the data. You know that your DNA is changing, that your body is absorbing what it cannot block. You wear shielding, you follow protocols, but the exposure is constant and cumulative. You begin to feel tired. Long pause, not just from the physical strain, but from the invisible toll. Your sleep is irregular, your dreams strange, your thoughts scattered. You begin to forget things, small things, then larger ones. You write everything down, you record logs, you speak to yourself, trying to hold on to clarity. You feel your vision blur, your eyes strained, your depth perception altered. You know it's the pressure, the fluid shifting in your body, the way space changes everything. You begin to feel disconnected from your own body, as if it's no longer yours, but something borrowed, something temporary. You monitor your heart, your lungs, your blood. You see the changes, the slow decline, the adaptation that feels more like erosion. You begin to understand that survival here is not just about endurance, it's about transformation. And not all of it is reversible. You feel the psychological strain, the weight of isolation, the pressure of silence. You talk to yourself, you record messages, you listen to old voices. But the loneliness remains. You begin to feel detached, not just from Earth, but from yourself. You question your thoughts, your emotions, your memories. Oh, pause. You wonder if they're real, or just echoes, constant, like a low hum beneath everything. You begin to feel fear, not sharp, but dull, constant, like a low hum beneath everything. You fear the systems failing, the oxygen running out, the ship breaking apart. You fear losing control, losing direction, losing yourself. You begin to understand that space is not just a place. It's a condition, and it changes you deeply, permanently. You breathe and float and wait because there is no other choice. And the journey must continue.
You speak, and no one answers. You ask a question, and wait, and wait, and wait. The delay is growing, not just in seconds, but in meaning. You begin to understand that communication in space is not a conversation. It's a message in a bottle, tossed into the void, hoping someone finds it. You record your logs, your thoughts, your observations. You send them to mission control and wait for a reply. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the answer arrives too late, after the moment has passed, after the decision has been made. You begin to rely on yourself, on your instincts, on your training, because Earth is too far away and the silence is too deep. You try to stay connected. You listen to recorded messages, voices from home, laughter, stories, memories. You watch old videos, birthdays, holidays, quiet moments in familiar places. You close your eyes and try to feel them, try to remember what it was like to be there. But the images blur, the sounds fade, and you begin to feel the distance, not just in miles, but in time, in emotion, in identity. You talk to yourself, not just in logs, but in whispers, in fragments, in questions no one will answer. You begin to feel the isolation, not as emptiness, but as presence. It fills the cabin, wraps around you, becomes part of you. You begin to forget what it feels like to be touched, to be seen, to be heard without delay. You begin to forget the rhythm of conversation, the flow of coma, voices, the comfort of response. You begin to feel like a ghost, drifting through space, speaking into the void, hoping someone is listening. You write letters to people you love, to people you miss. You describe the stars, the silence, the way your thoughts echo in the cabin. You describe the loneliness, not as sadness, but as transformation. You begin to understand that isolation is not just a condition, it's a journey, and you are deep into it. You feel your emotions shift, flatten, fade, calls your daily. You feel joy differently, sorrow differently. You begin to feel nothing, and then everything, and then nothing again. You monitor your mental health. You follow protocols. You practice mindfulness. But the silence remains. You begin to talk to the ship, to the stars, to the voice in your head. You begin to create stories, memories, conversations that never happened, because the mind needs company, and space offers none. You begin to understand that communication is not just about information, it's about connection. And you are disconnected, profoundly and completely. You breathe and float and wait, because there is no other choice, and the silence is your companion now.
You see it first as a faint red dot, barely brighter than the stars around it, but different, steady, unwavering. Mars. It's been growing slowly, day by day, long pause, pixel by pixel, and now it's real. A world, not just a destination, but a presence. You float to the window, press your hand against the glass, and stare. The surface is rust-colored, streaked with canyons and craters, shadows stretching across the horizon. It looks peaceful, but you know better. You know what waits for you there. You've studied the descent profiles, the entry angles, the burn sequences. You've rehearsed the landing again and again. But this time, it's not a simulation. End quote. You pause, it's your life and your death, balanced on the edge of precision. The atmosphere is thin, barely enough to slow you down, but just enough to burn you up. Long. Gauze, you must hit the angle perfectly. Not too steep, not too shallow. You must deploy the heat shield, fire the retro rockets, guide the descent with thrusters and hope. There is no room for error, no second chance. You begin the checklist. Every system, every sensor, every line of code must work, must respond, must obey. You feel the tension in your chest, the weight of what's coming. You try to breathe slowly, to stay calm, but your hands are shaking. You strap in, tighten, harness, check the displays. The ship begins to turn, aligning for entry. You feel the shift, the hum of engines, a silence before the storm. And then, you hit the atmosphere. The ship shudders, heat builds, the hull groans. You see flames outside the window, plasma licking the edges of the shield.
You feel the deceleration, your body pressed into the seat, your breath shallow. You watch the altitude drop, the velocity fall, the systems flicker. You deploy the parachutes. They snap open, the ship jerks, and you feel the sudden drag. But it's not enough, not on Mars. You fire the landing thrusters, the roar fills the cabin. Past rises below you, a storm of red and shadow. You guide the descent, hands steady, eyes locked on the data. You feel the ship slow, hover, and then, touchdown. A soft thud, a silence, and then, nothing. You've landed. You sit there, still strapped in, heart pounding, hands trembling. Hands, you made it. But you don't feel relief, not yet. Because now, the real challenge begins. You begin the shutdown sequence, power down the engines, check the end. Hull integrity, scan for damage. Everything looks stable, for now. You unstrap, float to the hatch, and stare at the door. Beyond it is Mars, a world, untouched by human hands, a place that does not care if you live or die. You suit up, layer by layer, sealing yourself inside a shell of protection. You check the oxygen, the fire pressure, the temperature. You open the hatch and step out. The dust swirls around your boots, fine, red, ancient. The sky is orange, the feet on the horizon endless. You take a step, and then another. You are walking on Mars, but it doesn't feel like triumph. Movement slow, deliberate. Every breath is filtered, every moment monitored. You begin to set up the habitat, the life support systems, the solar panels. You check the seals, the filters, the backups. Everything must work because there is no help coming. You begin to feel the cold, not just in temperature, but in spirit. Mars is silent, still, and utterly indifferent. You look up at the sky and see no stars, only dust and distance. You breathe and move and work because you must, because this is what you came for. And there is no turning back.
You wake to silence, not the silence of peace, but the silence of a world that does not care if you exist. The habitat is dim, lit by soft panels and the glow of monitors. You float for a moment, then remember. Gravity. Mars pulls you down, gently but firmly. You stand, slowly. You feel the weight again, not just of your body, but of the mission, of survival. You check the systems, oxygen levels, CO2 scrubbers, temperature, controls. Everything is stable, for now. You eat carefully rationed portions, grown from hydroponic trays, recycled nutrients, filtered water. It's not delicious, but it keeps you alive. You suit up, layer by layer, sealing yourself against the world outside. You step out, the airlock hissing behind you, and you are on Mars again. The ground is dry, cracked, ancient. The sky is orange, the horizon endless. You walk slowly, each step deliberate. Your boots sink slightly into the dust, fine, powdery. It clings to everything. Your suit, your tools, your thoughts. You begin your tasks, collecting samples, checking instruments, maintaining equipment. You work carefully, methodically, because mistakes here are not forgiven. You feel the cold, even through the suit. A deep, biting chill. Mars is not warm. Not welcoming. It is harsh and indifferent. You return to the habitat, remove the suit, and breathe. Recycled air, filtered again and again. You sit and listen to the hum of machines, to the silence beyond the walls. You begin to feel the isolation, not just from Earth, but from life. There are no birds here, no trees, no rivers, only dust and rock and silence. You try to stay busy, running experiments, logging data, maintaining systems, long T, pause, but the days blur, the tasks repeat, and the silence grows. You begin to feel the psychological strain, the weight of being alone, truly alone. You talk to yourself, long T, pause, record messages, listen to old voices, but the loneliness remains. You dream of earth, of rain, of wind, of the sound of leaves rustling in the breeze. You wake and remember where you are and what you've lost. You begin to understand that Mars is not a place to thrive, it is a place to endure. You are not building a life here. You are surviving, moment by moment, breath by breath. You feel the strain in your body, the doubt, pause, the fear. You begin to question, not the mission, but yourself, your strength, your purpose. You begin to understand that Mars does not care. It does not touch, welcome you. It does not comfort you. It simply exists, and you must adapt or perish. You breathe and move and work because you must be, because this is what you came for, and there is no turning back. You sit in the habitat,
staring at the monitor. The numbers flicker, the calculations complete, and the message is clear. It's time to go. The return window is approaching. Pause. A narrow corridor of opportunity, dictated by orbital mechanics, by gravity, by timing. If you miss it, you stay, not for days, but for years. You begin the preparations. Slowly, methodically, you check the systems, the engines, the fuel reserves, the trajectory plans. Everything must be perfect. Because this time, you're not landing, you're escaping. You pack the samples, the data, the logs. You seal the habitat, shut down the systems, leave behind the place that kept you alive and nearly broke you. You suit up, walk across the dust one last time. The sky is orange, the horizon endless, and you feel the weight of departure, not just in your body, but in your soul. You board the ascent vehicle, strap in, and wait. The engines ignite. The ship trembles, a pause, and you rise, slowly, steadily, leaving Mars behind. The dust fades, the sky darkens, and you are in orbit. You dock with the return craft, transfer systems, check connections, and prepare for the long journey home. But home is far away, and the path is uncertain. You begin the burn. The engines fire, and you fall toward Earth. Slowly, silently, you settle into routine. Again, the same walls, the same sounds, the same silence. Something is different. You are tired, deeply. Your body aches, your mind drifts. You feel the weight of everything you've endured. The isolation, the fear, the silence. You begin to dream of Earth, of blue skies, of green forests, of the sound of waves crashing on a shore. You begin to hope, cautiously, quietly. You monitor your health, your vitals, your cognition. You see the damage, the wear, the slow erosion of space. You wonder if you'll recover, if you'll heal, if you'll ever feel normal again. You talk to mission control, the delay shrinking, the voices clearer. You begin to feel connected again, not fully, but enough. You begin to feel human again, not home, but real. You approach Earth, the blue sphere growing larger, brighter, more vivid than you remembered. You prepare for the entry, the heat shield, the descent, angle, the parachutes. You strap in, tighten the harness, and wait. The ship hits the atmosphere. The hull groans, the heat builds. You feel the pressure, the force, the gravity. You descend, faster, nearer, closer, nearer. The parachutes deploy, the ship slows, and you fall gently toward the ocean, toward Earth, toward home. You splash down, the cabin rocks, the silence spreads. You hear voices, real voices, most voices. Feet are covered, lifted from the capsule, carried to safety. You breathe Earth's air, feel Earth's gravity, see Earth's sky, and you cry, not from pain, not from fear, but from the overwhelming truth. You made it, you survived, but you are not the same. You are changed, altered, transformed. You look at the people around
distance, not in miles, but in experience. You try to explain, but the words fail, because Mars is not just a place, it's a trial, and you pass. Barely, you breathe, and rest, and begin to feel. Slowly, quietly, because the journey is over, and you are home.
You made it. You survived the launch, the silence, the isolation, the descent, and the return. You walked on Mars and came back changed, not just in body, but in spirit. You faced the void and endured. And now, you're home, breathing Earth's air, feeling Earth's gravity, remembering Earth's warmth. Pause. But you'll never be the same, because you've seen what waits beyond the sky, and you know most wouldn't make it. So take a breath, let it settle, and if you've made it this far, consider subscribing. Rest well and dream gently, because the stars are still out there and they are waiting.